I got to tell you, that third quarter in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals was wild, man. It was a bit of a weird day for me yesterday as I was doing the pre and post game Heat coverage for my radio station, 790 The Ticket, and then on the Miami Heat broadcast, which, I can't thank the Miami Heat enough for giving me that opportunity, and my program director, Len Weiner, for giving me that opportunity. Super cool. My guy Zaslow and H and safety protocols. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery. I think he'll be back for game 2, but I'm not positive. There's a chance I have to pinch hit again. But that was so much fun being able to. I did a few games this year for the first time doing a Miami Heat broadcast. So I wasn't completely new to it, but I was like, this isn't the Pistons. Like, dude, like people are actually going to be listening to this. A lot of people are going to be listening to this on the way home, on the way there. So a little bit of nerves. Like it's fun getting those again in broadcasting because you kind of get jaded to all this stuff. Like you talk to a lot of famous people and you're in the midst of a lot of cool events. And so it's cool to have those feelings where it's like, man, I really hope I don't screw up. And I did screw up with some things, but I still think the difference is I feel like I'm able to power through it okay if I do mess up at all. And I didn't phlegm up on the air this time like I did my first time sitting next to the great Jason Jackson. Ruth Riley Hunter, so smart watching the game with her. That woman is a marvel and what she's able to pick up during the game. She's a whiz. So I really enjoy that experience. And then getting to hear it with a statistician there, Randy Webb and all that type of stuff. It was a really, really cool experience. I had a ton of fun being able to do that yesterday. It was a different vibe walking into that building, man. We did a lot of reacting to this on the radio show. And I should let you guys know, if you guys want to see the Tobin and Leroy show, I'll put the link down here in the description, but it is at The Ticket Miami. That is the YouTube page, so you guys can catch our clips. So we had a lot of fun there today. But just kind of give you guys my own thoughts, my own recap on some of the things that went down last night, what it was like in the building. It's cool. Like you got there and parked at Bayside, as I usually do, walking over to the lot to go through the command center. You got Stephen A. Smith walking through like he's the Pope, or he's on like the golf cart, looking like $1 million. ESPN had everybody there. They got like 900 people there just covering hoops, from their radio team to their writers to their TV personalities to the people actually broadcasting the game on ESPN. They pull out all the stops to their countdown crew, everything going down with everything here at the Eastern Conference Finals. And so, look, you go into this series and all this talk about Miami had a soft schedule. They took on the 8 seed like they didn't earn it being the 1 seed. They got a break with Joel Embiid getting hurt. Like they didn't just go and make the 76ers quit. Now you have the darlings of everybody, the Boston Celtics, roll into town. And what gets thrown in the Heat's lap? It gets thrown in their lap that they don't have Marcus Smart for this game and they don't have Al Horford. Marcus Smart had a foot sprain. He was questionable all game. Then it comes out the news that he's out. And then Al Horford enters health and safety protocols. He pops. And so you don't know when he's going to come back. So now Boston is out 2 starters, and it looks like the Miami Heat, like the Miami Heat are going to get another injury break. We already know this is going to be a narrative that's talked about, but you do have to take advantage of it. And man, that first quarter, it really felt like Boston was going to drown Miami. They felt starting that game overwhelming with the turnovers Miami was caused, the efficiency that Boston was playing with. Jason Tatum was just getting to everything. That would lead to him getting to Robert Williams, who was back from injury, by the way. And those two were just a deadly connection that Miami just did not have an answer for. And even still in that first quarter, taking that kind of a shot, they found themselves only down 3 by the end of it. You're like, okay. Jimmy Butler was doing his thing. Tyler Hero then comes in, and we know how great Tyler Hero is, especially in those second quarters. But that second quarter, Jason Tatum was going off even more. And they really just did not have an answer for the Celtics star. Even just when Jimmy was like draped all over him at one point, he gets an and one. One point he blocks Jimmy Butler's 3-pointer. And just like, man, the Celtics are really, really setting the tone here. And again, this is with them down 2 starters. So all that being said, they've had some experience, just like Miami has, in dealing with adversity and dealing with guys being out. What is going to be the answer to this? In the midst of the second quarter and all the chaos, PJ Tucker goes down. And you're like, man. So for all this talk about Boston being down 2 starters, technically at that point, Miami is down 2 starters. Kyle Lowry is still out, and now it looks like PJ Tucker, I thought at that point was going to be lost for the game. We're watching him walk back to that locker room, and you don't feel good about it, We know that PJ's had some lower body stuff at other points this year, and he's the heart and soul of the team. He is the pulse that makes everything go for Miami and brings that intensity. So halftime comes, talking about it with my guy Tommy Tighe on the broadcast, and we're giving all this praise to Jason Tatum, but also saying Tyler Hero, who you look at what his game was, and you're like, again, not like the breakout Tyler Hero performance, but I really thought that Tyler Hero's points in that first half were critical, because this could have been you really could have been looking at a blowout if it wasn't for Tyler Hero and what he was able to provide for Miami, and kind of definitely not keeping pace, but just keeping it within sight. Then the third quarter happens, and it's crazy. Everything that seemed to go down here. Jimmy immediately gets to the free throw line. He's going at Grant Williams. He's getting and ones. And then all of a sudden, Gabe Vincent, he's taking a step back 3 on Jason Tatum. Miami is getting into things. And Jimmy Butler puts Miami eventually on top 64-63 after Gabe Vincent misses a 3. Miami's on a 10-1 run. And then they come out of a timeout. Boston's trying to gather themselves. Gabe Vincent rips it from Robert Williams III. Just tremendous. Max Strus follows that up with a 3-ball. Miami is off and running. Boston can't get a shot off. Bam starts blocking dudes left and right. Jimmy Butler, he's bottling up Jason Tatum. It's going wild. I mean, there was at one point where they get out on the break. Jimmy Butler gets that patented little shot fake D Wade style, and he starts getting free throws in that one. Then Bam Adebayo has this insane block on Jaylen Brown, wedges it right between the rim and the backboard. I mean, this guy, Bam, certainly didn't have this big offensive game, and his offensive numbers have not been eye-popping at all in this postseason. But what he is providing on the defensive side is marvelous. And that he's got to feel a little bit something about going up against this franchise that got so much credit for their defense all year and got the flowers and got all the praise, and he was really overlooked in Defensive Player of the Year. He really was. And to have him play with that type of energy and ferocity, blocking Jaylen Brown, coming from behind him, blocking Jason Tatum, he really sent an important message, and I think left a lot of mental notes on these guys for, hey, this ain't going to be easy for you. At one point you had Max Strus ripping it from Jason Tatum. He went and dunked it. He at one point were 15-2 in the quarter. It was nuts. Bam rips it again from Jason Tatum. The big play, though, that felt like it swung this game for good, Jimmy Butler had back-to-back pick sixes. He has these things, and Eric Spoelstra calls it the Jimmy Butler rules, and everybody else has we have our team rules and the Jimmy Butler rules. And Jimmy Butler's allowed to gamble in a different way. And he read these two plays so perfectly. They both lead to buckets, puts Miami up 12 with about 5 minutes left. And Boston didn't get their first field goal until just under 5 minutes left in the quarter. They really humiliated them. It was because it wasn't just the fact that you go on a crazy run. It was a ton of threes Miami got hot from. No. This was, we are literally going to take the basketball right from your hands, and we're going to go down the other end of the floor and keep scoring, and you're not going to get any baskets. You're not going to be able to do anything. Jason Tatum, you look like the greatest basketball player on earth for the first half of this game. In the second half of the game, you're not going to be able to dribble. You're not going to have any space. You're not going to have any room to breathe. PJ Tucker's going to be swarming all over the floor. Loose balls are going to be getting and gotten all over the place. Rebounds, second chance opportunities, all that stuff that was going Boston's way, and they scored. It was something like 42 points in the paint in the first half. And then Miami comes and they flip it on them. They flip it on them and say, no. This is not how this is going to go. You're not going to go score like that. 42 points in the paint in the first half, 6 in the second half. That's the kind of tone that got flipped in this game. And Jimmy Butler, his stat line at the end of this puppy, you look at it and you're just like, huh? Because you always say, like, there's, the people who don't show up in the box score. There's people who don't show up in the box score, and it's very true that they still make a very big impact. But then there's Jimmy Butler, who puts up 41 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. Literally showing up everywhere in the box score. 12 of 19 from the floor, 17 of 18 from the free throw line. He is got such a talent at doing that. He is right now averaging in the playoffs 30 points a game on 54% shooting. It's insane. Nearly 8 rebounds a game, over 5 assists a game, over 2 steals a game. It's so funny because this is a series that already felt like people are trying to coronate Jason Tatum as that guy, and he looked like it in the first half. Trust me. The guy is very talented. First time I've gotten to see him live this year. I've seen Jason Tatum in live, but I didn't make it to the 2 home games this year, or didn't make it to the home game this year against Boston. And he was scoring with everything. He was putting everything into the hoop, basically, that he seemed to throw up. It seemed like he could have headbutt the ball. It would have gone to the rim. That's how locked in that he was. But to do what they did, for him to finish this game with 29 points when he had 21 in the first half, just speaks to how things flipped in that game for Miami and how they were able to change the tone of everything in this game. And so you look at that and you say to yourself, man, you're going to have a lot of people out here being like, huh, Jimmy Butler, huh? It's like, yeah, actually, this is what the guy has been doing the entire postseason. And really, since he has been a member of the Miami Heat, has been performing and has been the key to their success and has been their everything, every which way. You saw it in the bubble. You saw it with the finals. You saw it last year, even in the regular season, with it being a short regular season with no turnaround. And yeah, there were times where he was banged up, but there was a reason that we started the Jim VP campaign, because the guy was that important to the Miami Heat's success. Awful ending. I give you. You get swept. Okay. You're acting like that didn't just happen to Kevin Mother Bleeping Durant. That doesn't happen. That embarrassment doesn't happen to Chris Paul. That these embarrassments, that didn't happen to Giannis Antetokounmpo against the Miami Heat the year beforehand. And yet for Jimmy Butler, it's like this stain on his resume that he got swept in the first round. Get the hell out of here. This guy is playing better than anybody in the playoffs. Better than Luka, better than Steph, better than Tatum. And the impact that he's making on both ends of the floor, because we know that Steph and Luka ain't doing that. And Jason Tatum's starting to dip his toe in the water of a two-way player, but he ain't Jimmy Butler. He ain't steals leader of the postseason. He ain't steals leader in the NBA. He ain't that. So you take all that into account. He's putting up 40-point games up the wazoo, and everything that he's bringing to the table. I feel like I do 100 videos about putting respect on Jimmy Butler's name, but at this point, if you're not, I just pity you. Like, if you're going to just sit here and be like, don't know. Still don't know yet. And I think the thing that's annoying about it is that these things are all just predetermined, right? Like, this is all, Jason Tatum was a top 5 pick, a top 3 pick. We decide he's going to be the next one, and then that's it. And then Jimmy Butler is a grinder and a guy who's a malcontent and a guy who's ousted from all these franchises. And meanwhile, you have the Timberwolves getting worse when he leaves. The Bulls getting worse when he leaves, needing years to recover. Minnesota needing years to recover. 76ers still not getting anywhere without him. Joel Embiid crying, saying how much he misses him. Jimmy Butler telling you, I missed him, he missed me, and what a mistake it was. And now he's at a place where he's allowed to be him. They invested in him. They allow him to be him. They allow his personality to be that. It trickles down to everybody else. He has a team full of dogs. He has the rotation the way that he likes it. He plays with guys by his side that he enjoys. The big free agent acquisition was his best friend in Kyle Lowry. This is all stuff that normal stars get all over the place. They get guys that they prefer playing with. They get the rotation the way that they like it. The Miami Heat have treated Jimmy Butler like a star. They have treated Jimmy Butler like a star because he is a star. He is their star. When they were looking for anybody, any orca to come here, to come to the Miami Heat and say, please, we need somebody with supreme talent to come here. We know that we have the culture. We know we can make guys like Dion Waiters and James Johnson and guys like Hassan Whiteside we've never seen. We know we can make these guys a lot of money and we can be respectable. But if you give us somebody with elite talent, we will put them in the best position to make them even better. They did it with LeBron bleeping James too. And now they're back in that spot with Jimmy Butler. He has taken all the resources that Miami has given him, and he is flourishing. He has used it like, they've given me all the tools. I got to go out there and say what I have done, what I was going to do. And what he wants to do is win that championship. He's 7 away. 7 wins away. He's got that countdown on his Instagram, and it was just such a pleasure to watch that. You'll hear a lot today. You'll hear Marcus Smart. He wasn't in there. Al Horford, not fair about it. Health and safety protocols. Have the Heat gotten breaks? Sure. I won't deny it. Having to face Joel Embiid, who was a little bit banged up, that's a break. But Boston, did you not get here with a break? Like, did you not just play a series against the defending champions without their second best player? Are you going to act like Chris Middleton was in that series? Are you going to act like Giannis Antetokounmpo had a real sidekick there and he wasn't worn down by the end of it? Or are you just going to pretend like only your detriments and downfalls are what has to get faced? Are you going to sit here and you're going to act like the Miami Heat don't have their starting point guard? And here's the thing that's interesting about it. The Miami Heat don't have their starting point. They don't have Kyle Lowry. And quite frankly, they've looked better without Kyle Lowry. You know, Kyle's hamstring has been a problem. And when he was out there in those 2 Philly games, he didn't look anywhere near to the guy that we saw towards the end of the season. Because Kyle looked really, really good as the regular season was winding down. But it's funny to me how it's like the Miami Heat somehow get looked upon as not needing Kyle Lowry as much as other teams need their guys because they're too deep. Like, the Miami Heat have turned Gabe Vincent into this viable NBA player. And Gabe has done that too. Let me give credit to what Nnamdi has put together himself, because he has crafted himself into be a hell of a NBA player that nobody likes to go up against. He is a pain in the ass. He's ripping the ball from 7-footers. He's, hitting big-time step-back threes right over all NBA players. But because the Miami Heat have crafted their roster in a place where they can handle the absence of Kyle Lowry better than Boston can handle the absence of Marcus Smart, well, who's that on? Is that a gift for the Miami Heat? Or is that on the Boston Celtics for not having a plan B? For not preparing Peyton Pritchard to guard anybody? Even though it's tough for a guard known to guard anybody. Getting all saucy with Tyler Hero. Pipe down, Pritchard. You hit a couple threes, you think you're God's gift to basketball. Don't be like you're, is this like a West Lynn thing? West Lynn, Oregon, all talk, no wins. Is that how it goes? I don't know, dude. All I'm saying to me is that fun game yesterday. Jimmy Butler continues to shine, continues to be just a marvel in these playoffs. And ultimately, look, the Heat did what they were supposed to do. But that's easier said than done in these playoffs. Let me tell you. Like, you see other teams blowing home court advantage and blowing opportunities and blowing situations that may seem favorable. The Heat have not done that. They've undefeated at home. They have protected home court the entire way through. They have not blown opportunities where teams have been a little bit banged up. They have taken advantage of every single thing, and that is what good teams do, by the way. That is what good teams do. They do not slip up. They don't get into dogfights with the New Orleans Pelicans, and they get bounced in embarrassing fashion and humiliated in a Game 7. Good teams take care of their business, take opportunities, and fulfill what they're supposed to do. And that's what Miami's doing, and hopefully that's what they'll continue to do, because I do think that, yes, it is one game, but man, that third quarter was a tone setter for this series. It really, really was. It really felt like Miami took a good shot. Like, they got chin checked, and they stepped up and they threw an absolute haymaker and connected on the Boston Celtics. Looking forward to Game 2.